Hello, Catherine here, and welcome back to Should I Be Worried? A series where I talk about things that scare me and then I analyze whether I'm justified in that fear. Sometimes I am, sometimes it's just like, what you doing, Cat? Alright, so for this episode, we're going to be talking about ride-sharing apps. And the reason I'm wanting to talk about this right now is because of the story that has been everywhere, and it's about this 21-year-old girl. She was a University of South Carolina student. Her name was Samantha Josephson. She was originally from New Jersey, and it seems like what is coming out is that she got into a car that she thought was her Uber car after she was out with some friends in late March, and she disappeared. Her roommates called police after she didn't come home, and ultimately her body was found by some turkey hunters about 65 miles away and 14 hours later. And since then, a man has been arrested. His name is Nathaniel Rowland. He's 24 years old, and he's been charged with kidnapping and murder. So since her murder, there's been a lot of people who have questioned the safety of these ride-sharing apps, and they have kind of called on these companies to address and hopefully improve the way they operate in terms of safety. So for instance, there's been two South Carolina representatives, Seth Rose and Micah Caskey. They introduced the Samantha L. Josephson Ride-Sharing Safety Act, which would require rideshare drivers to display illuminated company-provided signage. So again, that's just, it aims to help passengers or customers identify the actual appropriate vehicle that they need to get into. There's also the University of South Carolina president. He asked the community to pledge that they would always ensure the license plate, make, model, and color of the vehicle matches what their app says. Again, this is important because they can make sure the passenger can make sure that the vehicle that they are getting into is the actual correct vehicle with the correct driver. He also said he wants the driver to always say or to answer, "What's my name?" And so if the driver can't actually answer that question, don't get into that. So the passenger has to ask the driver, "What's my name?" Can't answer, don't get in the car. There's also been a change.org petition that urges Uber and Lyft to make QR codes in their app for verification. So you have a QR code, you scan it. If it matches, then that's the driver, or the passenger. I don't know how exactly it's going to work, but that's if it matches, then that's the correct vehicle. I honestly have been afraid of these ride-sharing apps since I first heard about them. And it's been kind of an unpopular opinion for a long time because so many people use them. And I understand why, and I'm not trying to say that these ride-sharing apps are not good, because I think they are. These ride-sharing, like Uber, they've encouraged people to not drink and drive, which is, wonderful. That's obviously important. But there is kind of an inherent danger in using them. So like I said earlier, there's been a call for all drivers of these ride-sharing apps to have illuminated signage or clear signage saying that they are part of this company or whatever. But you can always buy those. I mean, people can buy like police signage and police lights and stuff like that. So to think that people also can't buy Uber signs or Lyft signs, then that's just silly. People can do that. So I don't necessarily know if that's like a good or like solid solution to this problem. It's something, and then also, trying to match the color and model and license plate number and driver, matching them, the picture of the driver with the picture, or the face of the driver to the picture that you see, all really solid advice. But a lot of people who are using these apps are, like I mentioned, not in the totally right state of mind. They are inebriated, and I don't know if a lot of people in that state can totally 100% do everything that is required of them to remain safe. Don't get me wrong, these companies have made improvements to their safety protocol. I mean, Uber, for instance, so kind of back up, there was this CNN investigation in 2018 that they investigated the police reports, federal court records, and county court databases for 20 major US cities to try to find reports of sexual assaults or any sort of crimes involving Uber. And what they found was that at least 103 Uber drivers in the US have been accused of sexually assaulting or abusing their passengers in the past 4 years. And they found that at least 31 drivers have been convicted for crimes ranging from forcible touching and false imprisonment to rape, and then also dozens of criminal and civil cases are also pending. So that's what CNN found. And Uber reacted to this investigation and said that they are going to increase safety measures, which included a partnership with Rapid SOS, which is a company that sends the rider's location and relevant information to a local police department when the rider uses their emergency button in their Uber app. So Uber announced that change. They also said that they revamped their background checks. So essentially what happens is that they are now conducting an annual check. So they can see if a driver, maybe when they initially got signed up for Uber, they were fine, but in the past year, something happened. They were convicted of a sexual assault. Well, now the company can actually see that by doing these annual background checks. So the company the company also, Uber, announced that they were going to they were going to release some sort of report that gives better data of these sexual assaults. And sometime in 2019, they said, last year. So hopefully that data will come out at some point. I think if anything, this new thing with this Samantha Josephson will also kind of prompt the company to release this data. So Uber has done things to help improve the safety of their passengers. I don't want to say that Uber is a villain in this, because I don't think they are, and I don't think Lyft is too, because there have also been sexual assaults reported or murders reported with Lyft drivers or Lyft passengers. So that is something that has happened before too. But these companies are not evil. I think at the core, I like the idea, but there's always been a part of me that's been scared of going into a vehicle that is not my own with a person who I do not know other than a picture on an app and some basic information about them, and entrusting them with my safety. There's something really unnerving about this. It's the same thing with Airbnb or Postmates or any of those sharing or asking people to give you food or come to your house. Like, there's something inherently dangerous about that, and I think we all need to understand that. And it's obviously so important for these companies to maintain good, solid safety measures, but it's also super important, and I don't want to make this come across as victim blaming. No, 100% not. But what I am saying is I think it's important for us to also make sure that we're doing some safety precautions on our own end to make sure that we are using these apps safely. Uber, Lyft, Postmate, Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever, all these different Airbnb, all these things that kind of make it so that we have to entrust a stranger with, something. We need to act safely. And, I think one of the best ways to do is just follow your gut, follow your instincts, try to remain in groups or in pairs or just try to do something like that. Remain vigilant. Try to, I don't want to say, don't drink or anything like that. Don't use substances, because that's your life, but I think just it's so important just to make sure you are looking out for yourself, look out for your friends, look out for people that you see on the streets. just I think if anything, we just need to look out for ourselves and each other, and that's so important. Thank you so much again for tuning in this week. I upload an episode every Monday. I also do a podcast that I release on various podcast channels like Apple and SoundCloud and all sorts of other ones. So thank you again, and have a good week.